One boy, 10 girls, wouldn't trade it for the world. Not even all the worlds that were referenced in this wacky show. Stay tuned to hear how the Loud House took some inspiration for some of the most iconic movies ever. Don't forget to subscribe to The Things and give this video a big thumbs up. Now let's check out 10 unexpected references you missed in the Loud House. Super Mario. There are some pretty well-hidden Super Mario references in the Loud House. Fans have compared Lola to Peach and wondered if there's a connection between the two since the characters are very similar in their looks. The reference hasn't been confirmed, however you can clearly see some resemblance, right? But that's not an official shout-out. In the episode called Butterfly Effect, you can see Lisa wearing a red cap. The cap actually looks very similar to the Super Mario cap. The same color, the same shape. This is definitely not a coincidence. But wait, there's more. In the episode called Pulp Friction, Luann made a move that was actually pretty similar to something you'd see in the Mario Kart series. These references are so subtle, you'd never even realize they're there. So, in Pulp Friction, Lynn throws a boomerang at the principal's golf cart as they're trying to catch up to him. And then, Luann throws a banana peel in front of him. Once the golf cart goes over the banana peel, it starts swerving until it eventually spins out. Doesn't that sound like exactly what happens in Mario Kart? Seems like it's not a coincidence that all the Super Mario connections exist in the Loud House, right? ACDC. The musical references in the Loud House are absolutely insane, but we bet many kids these days don't even know who ACDC are. Well, we hope their legacy carried on through the rock chick that is Luna Loud. But we're here to point out these references, just in case you didn't know what they're about. Luna made plenty of references to ACDC songs, but they were cleverly masked as one-liners. For example, in No Guts, No Glory, she directly quoted the song For Those About to Rock. And in Butterfly Effect, she said she uploaded a song about the Loud family going down a certain highway that goes to a place down below. We'd say it, but a certain challenge taught us it's a bad word. The last word was masked by hello, as she realized she got 50 more hits on her song. It's a pretty straightforward reference to one of ACDC's most popular songs. For Those About to Rock is mentioned again as a reference in the actual title for Bros About to Rock, as well as said by the mall cop captain. The reference to For Those About to Rock continues throughout the show, which is a pretty awesome tribute to ACDC. Other music references. But it's not just ACDC that managed to be highlighted in the Loud House. Even though they did have the most features, Luna pays a tribute to plenty of iconic rock bands. She does this through songs, but the Loud House is also known for using references in their titles. Almost every episode title is a nod to either something related to music or movies, but we'll talk about the movies a bit later. Luna's one-liners include lyrics from Drake, Aerosmith, Pink Floyd, Aretha Franklin, Billy Ray Cyrus, and even Britney Spears. Her character really embraces the fact that she is a rock chick, and hey, it worked! It's safe to say that if you have no idea about old school rock music, none of these artists might make sense to you. But we do hope Luna's rock obsession still made you check out some of these iconic artists. Luna's one-liners are usually straight to the point, with lyrics directly taken out of the songs, but sometimes they get creatively masked, which makes the whole situation even funnier. Like when she referenced the Mustang Sally song and added Ride Sally Ride, after saying she had to do some work on it. We seriously can't get enough of Luna. Peanuts. Over the years, several Nickelodeon shows paid a tribute to the one and only Peanuts, and the Loud House was no difference. The Loud House actually has made hidden Peanuts references you'd never really notice, unless you know where to look. We already exposed some of the big ones, but did you know that Lincoln's dog is called Charles, named after Charles M. Schulz, the creator of Peanuts comic books? And whenever it's winter, Lincoln actually wears outfits that actually resemble something you'd see Charlie Brown wear. You can also find several background moments that indicate a Peanuts shout-out, like the time you could see two shirts resembling Charlie Brown's shirt in the background of a closed store. In Two Boys and a Baby, you can see Lincoln do Five's dance from a Charlie Brown Christmas. And that's not even all of the references. These tributes are so subtle that there's no way most people would notice them unless you pay attention to detail. But it totally makes sense that one of the best Nickelodeon shows ever would be inspired by one of the best comic books ever. Seriously, if you rewatch the episodes, we're pretty sure you can catch at least a dozen references, cleverly hidden in the background. Hey Arnold! One of our favorite references on this show are the very subtle Hey Arnold references. If you think about it, modern kids these days don't really know old school shows like Peanuts or Hey Arnold, so paying a tribute to them is really aimed at adults who watch this show. Everyone was pleasantly surprised when they realized that the pool scene in Link or Swim features a familiar character. At some point, you can see Grandpa Phil in the bottom right corner. It's such a subtle reference that you definitely wouldn't notice unless you know the Hey Arnold characters. This reference actually makes sense since Chris Savino also worked on Hey Arnold, but unless you pause the episode at the right time, it's something you wouldn't normally pay attention to. Speaking of, the pool scene has so many surprising references, so you should definitely pause it to see how many you recognize. We can tell you right now that you can find references to at least 5 other elderly cartoon characters in a single shot. Seriously, we're totally amazed by all these shout-outs to some of our favorite characters, shows, and artists of the pop culture. But the Loud House also paid homage to other icons. Shakespeare. Now here's something kids these days definitely wouldn't notice. When you think of Shakespeare, you probably think of the famous "to be or not to be" quote. But there was so much more to this amazing writer. In fact, you can find several very subtle Shakespeare quotes in our favorite Nickelodeon show. The Loud House made a reference to Shakespeare on 2 separate occasions. The first time was in the episode called Spell It Out, where we see Lucy use a spellbook to teach her siblings a lesson because she's annoyed at them. We've all been there, Lucy. But did you notice the spells she's been using? She says things like lizard's leg and Howlet's wing, which is directly taken from Macbeth's Act 4. What a cool shout out! And if you've been watching season 3, you can also find a Shakespeare reference in the episode called White Hare. We see Warren the rabbit read a rabbit version of Shakespeare called Shakes Hair. This, of course, is a play on Shakespeare and, well, rabbits. Who would have thought that Shakespeare's work would have such influence even more than 400 years after his publications? And Lucy is just the perfect character to pay homage to this iconic writer. Spongebob. The shoutouts to Spongebob have probably been the most obvious in the Loud House, but one of them gets frequently missed. Season 1, Episode 1 of the Loud House already starts with a bang, but you might want to rewatch it because while you were focusing on the characters themselves and trying to get to know them, a lot of things happened in the background. This very subtle reference occurs for a split second, so it's very easily missed. It happens right in the first scene of the first episode, where Lincoln explains that every Sunday at 8 o'clock, the Loud siblings go through the exact same thing, aka they're fighting for that remote because they all want to watch a different show. We have no idea who chose that channel, but you can actually see a yellow square character and a pink star character on the screen. They disappear before you can even say, wait, what? But we're pretty sure this is a reference to SpongeBob and Patrick. Of course, the Loud House version of them is much more simple, but it would be a crazy coincidence if this wasn't planned. Since the Loud House actually beat SpongeBob in ratings, it's nice to see this humble shout out. Futurama. The Loud House really got inspired by a lot of things, didn't it? But hold on, we're not done yet. This strange and kind of obscure reference can be found in Season 2, Episode 16. Again, this is so subtle that unless you're a Futurama fan, you'd probably never even notice it, even though the object itself really stood out. At the beginning of the episode, Lisa proposes to put Luann in a freezing chamber to avoid her for April Fool's Day. Seriously though, even though Lisa's incredibly smart, she might have went slightly overboard with this crazy idea. Freezing your sister on April Fools? Come on now. Luann is known as the prankster of the family, and it seems that everyone has had enough of it. Can't blame them really. Sometimes you just want a break from the pranks. But did you notice that the freezing chamber looks strangely similar to the cryogenic tubes you see in the series pilot of Futurama? Sure, it could be a coincidence, but it's just way too similar in the way it looks. There haven't been any other noticeable Futurama references on the show yet, but we're keeping our eyes peeled because we're pretty sure that we'll be seeing more Futurama episodes in the future. Movies. It's not just music that's frequently referenced on the Loud House. Movies have frequently been referenced on the show. If you pay attention to the title cards, you'll notice that almost every episode title is a pun and a reference to a popular movie. For example, Driving Miss Hazy is a clear reference to the 90s movie called Driving Miss Daisy. You can also find some pretty direct references, such as the episode titled Butterfly Effect. Along Came a Sister is a shout out to the 2004 movie Along Came Polly. And although it's not a movie, the infamous series Toddlers and Tiaras also made it on the Loud House, a play on words to the episode called Toads and Tiaras. It's not clear whether the episodes were named after the movies that influenced Chris Savino's work or whether Chris just thought they deserve a shout out. Seriously, check the episode titles and we bet you can find that they relate to plenty of movies, like the Two Boys and a Baby episode, which is a reference to the popular movie called 3 Men and a Baby. These references really never stop, so next time you watch the Loud House, make sure to pay special attention to the hidden meanings of each episode title. Ctrl+Alt+Delete. Now, this is a reference you'd absolutely never expect, as most people have probably never heard of it unless you're a huge comic book fan. Ctrl+Alt+Delete is a gaming-related webcomic which focuses on the adventures of Ethan, a video game fanatic. But a particular Ctrl+Alt+Delete storyline called Lost became one of the longest-running memes in the internet world, and the Loud House seems to have wanted to give it a shout-out. The Lost scene itself talks about about miscarriage. And for some strange reason, the comic found its way into the world of internet memes. We won't go into too much detail, but have you managed to see the exact lost story in Luann's room? Pay close attention to the poster in the top right corner. It's a 4-panel poster with different scenes in each panel, but if you compare it to the original lost scene, you'll notice that the stick figures are placed in the same way as characters from Ctrl+Alt+Delete. Since Chris Savino did say he always wanted to make a comic strip, it's safe to say he's inspired by this popular and strange meme. It really makes you wonder what else is in Luann's room that you've never noticed before, doesn't it? And that's all for our video. Thanks for watching. See you next time!